Over 10,000 delegates have registered for the 5th Annual Cloud World Forum, and over the next 2 days we'll be speaking to thought leaders from Navisite, Dimension Data, Bank Tech, DELL, Safenet and Softlayer. We'll also be covering the Computer Weekly End User Awards for enterprise software. I'm Rachel Downey and this is Cloud Moves TV.
We're seeing that in many of our new regions around the world, we're seeing 100% growth quarter over quarter.
Why is that?
In more mature areas, it's at least 25% on a quarter basis. Again, think about how much people use technology. You know, I always tell this joke about the average person checks their mobile phone 150 times a day.
Yeah.
My daughter checks her mobile phone once a day. And never puts it down.
What was the key innovation from your innovate or die mentality?
Well, I mean, that's it. There's not just one innovation. I mean, what we look at is how innovation drives value for the customers. So how Softlayer started was there were 10 founders. They sat in their kitchen and they said, how do we make the hosting industry better for both our customers and for the pain points in the operation side? And that's a mentality, it's a lifestyle, right? So innovation never sleeps. It keeps going and going and going. So there's not one innovation. It's just a lifestyle. So you keep innovating all the time.
Is that there's a ton of innovation going on here. I was at some customer meetings here this week, and they're talking about things that I don't hear about anywhere else.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, I think one of the challenges for Europe is that we have to get confidence in the talent that we have here. We have some incredible talent. If you look at some of the innovation that's going on in Tech City and the community that's being built there, the only thing that it lacks today is the confidence of the multiple years that Silicon Valley's had, where they've had innovators who've made, big companies and then gone on to build the next one. You look at people like Andreessen Horowitz as investors. I worked with Ben Horowitz over at HP. He's built a multi-hundreds of millions of dollars company, and now he's sitting on the VC side looking and helping entrepreneurs now to build. And we have to build that layer of confidence in the financing and confidence from the individuals building those businesses.
Before I was at DELL, I used to do fundraising for tech companies, and so I saw a pattern whereby American companies got funding quicker and got greater amounts of funding. What we're trying to do at DELL is to use the contacts we make in the US and where they're European based to help customers. So I was actually with a customer this morning called Pie Mapping. They met our entrepreneur in residence, Ingrid van der Veld, in the US, and we're hoping to help accelerate their success in Europe through our cloud team in Europe.
I personally don't believe so. It's true that a number of companies are going out to North America because it's easy to have funding and things like that. That's true, but there's a lot of things that are actually happening in Europe on the one hand, and then on the other hand, the EU is really getting aware of the importance of cloud for them to move forward. And as a result, Nelly Cruz and her team are actually putting a lot of effort in there. So I think between now and 2020, we'll see much more about cloud in Europe, and I'm really glad about that.
I think one of the advantages of the US is the scale, right? So you have a large single language market. But I've worked in Switzerland, I've worked in Italy, I've worked in France, I've worked in the Netherlands where we're based now, and I find the level of technology and the motivation of the people is just as high. The markets are more fragmented. So no, I don't think they're losing the race. They might be losing a scale race, but in terms of talent, no, not at all.
It's been interesting actually. I haven't had the experience of building enterprise teams before. The biggest challenge here has been finding the right kind of people to work in this business. We're looking for talent that not only understands how to work with an enterprise, but also how to understand the user experience and really work in a different dynamic where an enterprise will turn this business on or off, will turn the application on or off, depending on whether they really love using it. Yeah. So it's a different kind of person, and finding those people has been the biggest challenge. The enterprises, they love the product, so it's a much easier task getting into the enterprises.
I think everyone takes a different type of unique approach depending on the needs of their end customers, so it's more of how they approach the business. In any case, we're seeing that there are certain skill sets that are in need anywhere in the world, whether it's in Europe, in the US, or in APAC. People that are in high demand that know how to run cloud services, how to run scalable cloud services, and how to build them and architect them. Because this is relatively new and it's really a growing part of the business.
The whole idea is I want the user to be shielded off of all the complexity. that sits in delivering all those services coming from all of those different companies. That is important for the acceptance of cloud. That is important for the use of cloud in enterprises.
Obviously, infrastructure as a service is a big one for us. We work with PaaS players, platform as a service. Software as a service is another one. I mean, those are the big ones. I've heard a lot of other acronyms, but in terms of true value driving as a service, I don't know. I haven't seen any that are really driving value yet.
Oh my God. Yeah, that is a good start. Well, I would say there are 3 real ones, and then there's a whole bunch of fake ones, okay? The 3 real ones, no, I'm blank, is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. I think everybody agrees on that. Yep. You can add a 4th one to that, which is when you want to use all 3 of them and you don't want to write them down, you put XaaS, which is everything as a service, if you want. And then you have a bunch of vendors that, as usual in marketing, start using all sorts of other things. And I've heard storage as a service, and I've heard communication as a service, and I've heard a whole bunch of other ones of those. I don't really know what they mean. They are not standardized. It's more marketing and marketing gimmick than anything else.
HR as a service. Now, I never knew HR was a product. I never knew HR in a box or HR. I just go buy HR at the store. So how is it HR as a service any other thing? And the best was someone goes, hey, look, HR as a service. Harass. Now we got so I think, yes, it's become to the point where, to me, I've seen service as a service. It's just absolutely ridiculous. The key being, it's not really as a service. It's, you know, the reality is, someone who's grown up using internet and mobile doesn't even think about it as a service. They think about that's just how they consume things, and that's what we need to understand about how people adopt this and stop trying to rename everything as a service.
It's been fantastic. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again very, very soon.